Well, the driver responsibility program does undoubtedly lead to many people going to county jail because their license is suspended, but they continue driving. And, of course, technically they shouldn't be driving, but the reality is to go to a job in most places in Texas, to go to the grocery store, to take care of your family, you really have little choice other than to drive. Now, if that person's pulled over, and it might be for an expired inspection sticker, it could be for any minor thing, and then the officer asks for their license, and then they look it up on their computer and it's suspended, then in many cases that individual will be hauled off to jail. And indeed, if they can't afford bail, they might stay there a long time. So, and it's an incredible expense to taxpayers. It's the largest item in most county budgets. You're looking at $70 a day for every day someone is sitting in a county jail. And again, these are people that aren't a threat to public safety. They're people that had some speeding tickets years ago, and in many cases, and then got caught up in this driver responsibility program, couldn't afford the thousands of dollars in fines. So that is a real concern, I think, both because of the cost, but also the human toll. That if somebody's in county jail just for 72 hours, they may lose their job, they may become disconnected from their family, and so forth. So that's something we really need to avoid, and the best way to do that is to actually just abolish the driver responsibility program.
The irony is that, we're in a state where we really value the government not telling us what to do. And a program called the Driver Responsibility Program that has affected me for a no insurance ticket. And now, over a decade later, I don't have a license because of a no insurance ticket is absolutely ridiculous. And I would turn it around and say that the responsibility is on the lawmakers to help the drivers.
Well, the driver responsibility program leads to more people serving time in county jail for driving without a valid license, and this does put a stress on the county jail. Every time somebody's booked, that has a certain cost to it, and there have to be hearings. They may be entitled to a lawyer. So again, the county and the county taxpayers are picking up the tab for all of that. And again, we ought to be willing to spend money if it's benefiting public safety. The problem is driver responsibility program is not doing anything for public safety.
Since 2003, the state has collected about $1.8 billion on the backs of the working poor.
Well, the DRP is only bringing in about 30% of what was projected, again, because a lot of people simply can't afford to pay. Then most of the money that is collected is actually just being kept on the budget as an artificial mechanism to balance the budget. It's not flowing out to the trauma care hospitals.
For the crime of not having insurance when I was a kid, I am being punished for it 15 years later. There's not a lot of very base traffic violations that you get punished for 15 years. I don't think that this was anybody's intention. To my understanding, the person who brought up the bill in the first place for the driver responsibility program came back a year later and said this is punishing people it shouldn't be punishing. And because it makes so much money, it stays. And I don't think that that's a good way for Texas to treat its citizens.